Starting the recording. Hello, everyone. This is episode 452. And there's the recall or the echo. 452 of the OotiniCast being recorded on November 22nd, 2022. And this is the raw version of the show. We'll put out with any flaws or flubs or errors and so on. And then we will clean it up, put it out as a regular podcast tomorrow. The raw version will also be going out as a video onto YouTube. And since it's actually already after 4, I think it's about time we get going. Let me go ahead and do a quick tweet, which is something we need to probably talk about because Twitter's in a bit of a mess at the moment. Let's see. Oops. Hang on a sec. I got to be on my OotiniCast account. Okay.
Yeah, I made a Mammoth account.
Oh yeah, so have I, and there is an OotiniCast one as well.
I looked for it, I didn't see it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, no, what's the OotiniCast one? I still need to make a cryptobiography one, but I haven't made one. I did make an OotiniCast one. That sounded like the beginning of Cars by Gary Newman. You know how it starts with that and then the nice little drum sting. Anyway, it's a good song. It really is. It's kind of it's a very catchy little tune. Anyway,
5.
All right.
Keyboard. Hi, chat.
So yeah, I'll look. Maybe I can look up the. It's OotiniCast. I mean, it should be searchable under just OotiniCast, but I think I can look up the official full name later. But yeah, and it does seem like Mammoth is probably the way to go. It seems like things are going that way as far as like people who do want to do something other than Twitter. There are other ones, of course, lots of them, and a few pretty big ones, and so. This is very much in flux, and we might find that this one or that one instead sort of takes the lead, and we should really go with that one. Hey Zamzam, thanks for the raid. We're just about to go with the actual official podcast. This is just a setup, and thank you for the raid. We of course love you, Zamzam. Of course, if you're listening to the podcast version, this is. Zamzam's guest multiple times, and one of the great. Sort of leaders of the whole SWTOR community. And so, so we're really excited to get this going. Are you ready, Kitty?
I'm ready, babe.
All right, then.
I called chill, babe.
Hey, babe. All right. Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that burns its decency for someone else's future. This is episode 452, being recorded on Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. I'm your host, Chill, and with me is my co-host, KittyKissz.
Hello, Chill. Hello, chat.
Hey, Kitty. And what have you been up to since the last show?
Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you, Zamzam, for the raid. She just popped in, and she just raided us, and... I usually raid her because I don't know, it's just how time works out. After my streams, I'll see that she's on. I'll give her a raid. And this is the second time that she's got to raid me.
Woo-woo.
Or in this case,
us. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, Zamzam. It's great. Let's see. I have been dealing with which I've come to the conclusion is a forever problem.
Okay.
Which is cable management.
Okay. Yes, I can see that.
I can't get a setup that I'll just stay with. So, and with running 3 computers for the stream, there are wires all over the place, and I refer to it as the bird's nest. But I've got a grip on it, but I'm still working on it, and I don't know if you watch the YouTuber Jay's 2 Cents. He's a tech guy.
Yeah, I think I've ended up watching a few of his. I don't subscribe or anything, but
he's great.
Okay,
really,
good.
Really good. But anyway, he's big on cable management, and it kind of got me into it. And
Nice.
So now I'm like constantly trying to get cables. I've got zip ties. I've got reusable. I got all the stuff. Like I got these things.
Wow.
You put crap in there
and it kind of goes through and has things on each side.
Yeah, so which are great.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got to tell you, when I moved from the house to the rental and I moved the computer, it was like, yeah.
Oh boy.
It was like someone had cut open a tauntaun back there.
That's funny.
It was rough.
Yeah, I bet. So I've been doing that, and I think I like it. I don't know if that's masochistic or what, but I do like doing cable management, which is perfect because Kitty hates it. She doesn't do it.
Okay, good.
And so I'm like, all right, I'll deal, that part of the stream team, which is I guess, I don't know, my lot in life.
Yeah, well, that's good though, because she's definitely taken over some of the other tech stuff. So, so if you're handling like the physical cable and other sort of physical management of the hardware, that's that helps balance things out really nicely.
Yeah, we're a good team when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
The next thing I've been up to is I had my pre-Thanksgiving pumpkin pie last week.
That's right. Okay.
And I'm ready for and own my pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. So
okay.
I'm looking forward to. I love pumpkin pie.
When I
was eating a slice from last week, I realized that I was dancing around the kitchen eating the pie,
great.
And I'm like,
doing a little happy pie dance.
I was totally doing the happy pie dance.
That's awesome.
So I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun.
And do you only eat them this time of year, or have you been known to pop them out, in spring or summer or something?
I will eat pumpkin pie whenever. However, now that, once you hit 50, it takes a lot more effort to get rid of the pounds. So I'm only going to allow myself to have a couple a year, because during COVID, I was eating like 2 to 3 pumpkin pies a month.
Wow.
Because during COVID,
you're
one
just home.
was able to go to the store. They were selling them for $1.95 for a pumpkin pie, a frozen pumpkin pie.
Wow.
It was my job as an American, as a capitalist, to see that those pies found a good pie hole to go into. And I did my damnedest.
That's
I'm proud of myself. So I'm really, really looking forward to getting that pumpkin pie in the oven tomorrow night. And I'll probably make it on Thanksgiving Day. So, But anyway, other than that, I finally got onto PTS.
Cool.
It took 3 downloads
really
to get it to work, and I also had to unplug one of my monitors because for whatever reason the launcher would be on one monitor, but the game would launch on a different monitor, and
you couldn't force it to do it.
I couldn't.
That's weird.
We couldn't figure it out at all. So, but anyway, finally got that figured out, and now I have 3 versions of the game on my gaming computer. I have the original, from the original launcher.
Oh yeah.
The PTS from the original launcher, and then the version I got off of Steam.
Okay.
So it's eaten up some gigs on my hard drive. I got it to work, damn it. And I don't know, did you check out PTS at all?
I've not been doing the PTS. I've still been working very hard on getting my house sold. So
yeah.
It's been it's been
Crunched.
nuts. Yeah, it's gotten better over the last week, but I have not done the PTS yet. Okay. I'm not quite to that level of normality at this moment.
Getting the baby steps.
All right.
I am really into the new map. I think the new map is fantastic.
You mean the one that sort of hovers over?
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of, you can position it wherever you want on the on your heads-up display, and some of the changes that they've done to the HUD, I think is great. And
let's go ahead and talk about that now. Since I think this is a good time to talk about it now. We will talk about the dev stream later on in the news section, of course, but let's go ahead and do this now while we're on it, and so we don't kind of like leave anything. So what have you touched so far? Have you touched any of the new content or anything? Not that we're going to do spoilers, but you haven't done any of that. Okay, so I
really didn't have a lot of time, and I just kind of wanted to check out the map,
right?
Because I was very, very excited about it.
Does the mini map feel any different with with the buttons taken off of it and put on its own bar? That feels around the same? Okay.
Yeah, it's about the same.
And have you done any other changes? Like, for example, have you tried out the colorblind modes?
I did. I tried out all the colorblind modes.
How do those work? How do you like those?
Well, what we could kind of tell is that I also went on to different planets to kind of see if it changed the graphics at all from a non-colorblind perspective.
Right.
And it seems that, they just kind of take out some of the colors, I think, that give colorblind people difficulty, that are just, that they can't see as well.
They're just problematic. Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks great. I cranked up the graphics, and it's interesting. I mean, luckily, I'm not colorblind at all, but I am so stoked because I played with so many people that were colorblind, and we would be, watch out for the green reticle on the floor, and they're like, I don't see a green reticle.
Right.
Or when you're going to do the what's the gree fight where you have to get 2 people on orange, 2 people on purple.
Right.
That was difficult for
him.
Right.
There's a name for it, but I can't remember it. But yes.
A great.
We call it the Tron boss in
the Tron boss.
in the Utini guilds, yeah. So, and I think a lot of people actually call it the Tron boss too, because there's a lot of that around there. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
I was also thinking that one of them seemed really, really. I didn't go to Hoth, but I think that I might actually, when I go to Hoth, pop one of the colorblind filters on there. Yeah.
Does it? Because is it very simple? Is it like?
It's one click and done.
It's one click and done. Is it one of the buttons that's like below the mini map, or is it? Where is it exactly?
It's under preferences.
Oh, it's under preferences.
Graphics.
Okay, that's still pretty easy.
Graphics, and then scroll all the way down, and they're right there. I think there's
a new chunk.
3 different types.
Right, because there are different kinds of color blindness, so it's nice that they're hitting multiples on them.
Mm-hmm. And it affects. I mean, it affects everything in the game.
It's not like, so it's not like it's not map. Like. Yeah, it's not focusing on the everything. UI. It's the background and reticles and everything else. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the NPCs will, like quest giving NPCs that have, a certain glow to them, have that specific glow to whatever colorblind color you choose to.
That's cool.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I could actually see that. And then I'll have to try that when either later on in PTS or just when it goes live, and then like actually see like which one I like best anyway. I kind of think that even though I'm not colorblind, I mean, it's kind of nice to be able to do things that might make your stream a little easier for people to see. There's a lot of colorblind people out there. It's a very common thing to have. And so that's not so bad. It's kind of like how I make the text way bigger, and I also make it permanent, like it's always on, and it's for dialogue, and I make it as big. Right. Well, actually, I think you can make it bigger now because they upped that recently, but I made it as big as it could be before, and I think it's still fine for now.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, and it just makes it easier if like people are especially if they're watching on like a phone or other small screen or something like that.
Right. I also read it now, or
Yes, I've taken a leaf from your book, and for at least a year now, I've for the alien dialogue, I just always read it out loud as well, because otherwise it's just
test
gibberish.
Your vocal cords. By the end of the stream, if I'm playing some storyline that has a lot of hutties in it, I'm like, oh man. That's why I have a bowl. It's fun.
It's fun to do like the different
drops.
To do it accents. Like do the Audian kind of like you have a little snout thing, or they're kind of talking like this. Or
when I first started and I was doing the reading the dialogue, I was going to put effects on my voice so that it would kind of correspond with
like official like sci-fi or digital effects, like not just tricking out your voice with
it
by
ended
yourself.
up that it was too much of a pain in the butt with all the audio stuff we have going on, so decided against it. But it's really cool. They also did they also have a the little how your mini map has all the different buttons around it. Like your PvP queue and all that stuff. All those are gone. So it's
just a circle now.
But they do have two little...
those are the bars or whatever that are below it
bars.
now.
There's one up here and one down here. And you can put up to like 18 different tasks on those bars. And it's great. It's really, cool. Really cool. So
anything, like if you happen to be interested in one thing in the game, then you just make boop and great. Now I've queued up for PvP or whatever it is.
Walk on there. Yeah, there's PvP. There's I think your guild information your guild button can go on there. It's really cool.
That is very nice. Does it also does it work with like the UI customization, so you can like move it, resize it, all that stuff?
Yeah. You can do all that stuff in the UI customization page, and you can also make the icons larger, like your quest icons or vendor icons. You can make those larger. You can make the text that is above those icons smaller or larger.
Okay.
It's really, really cool.
Wow.
You can also have it to where it's, you can have it set to have true north. Or you can have it set that it moves around.
It moves the way you're facing.
Around. Right, which
as cool as that is, that would mess me up so bad. Like I get very used to just knowing which way north is on any particular map.
Yeah. When I came over to SWTOR from Star Wars Galaxies had the map, right? I had my map that would turn and stuff. Right. And after playing this for 10 years, I'm used to True North, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll be able to do it back like in SWG. And then I'm like, that's a terrible idea. But yeah, it's great. It's a great, Kitty also brought up a great point.
And is that, sorry, go ahead.
It looks sci-fi.
Good.
We're playing a sci-fi game, and the map looks sci-fi, which is great.
That's nice. Really. Now, are you talking about the mini map can be rotated or are you talking about that floating map rotates?
Well, your floating map, but that's kind of your mini map is there still, but it's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
Just one's larger than the other. You can also have like a circular filter or a square filter on it, which I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain.
Right. As to what it's actually showing or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. You could make it take up your whole screen. You could make it
so you make it
tiny.
A lot smaller.
Can
you change the opacity?
Yes.
That's cool too.
You can change the contrast on it too. So you can make the icons brighter. You can make the map itself like brighter. You could make it almost translucent if you wanted.
That's cool.
Really, really great quality of life, in my opinion. Also, the Fog of War is, I don't want to say it's like that the map is all revealed, but it's pretty much the revealed map
Right.
With all of the structures and stuff
so you
on
can
it.
Yeah, so you can actually tell which way you need to go.
Right.
That's
so
good. I remember they had
lost.
right. They accidentally turned that on for a few days a couple of patches ago, and then they said, "Well, that's coming, but it just wasn't ready for prime time yet, and it's not meant to actually go out yet." And I really loved it those few days that it was there. It's like, oh, okay, great. I'm on Belsavis, and now I know actually which way to go, as opposed to like kind of guessing based on general game knowledge and the mini map icons.
Right. Yeah. I have the No Fog of War pictures so that I can just go, all right, I need to see what's going on. Am I going the wrong way here on Corellia?
Ootini maps. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. But yeah, I'm really stoked on it. And I think it is a great quality of life addition to the game. I'm stoked. I can't wait.
Nice.
I can't wait. Okay. So PTS, I wasn't there very long. But basically went there to check the map out with the time that I had. And the last thing that I did, Kitty and I, well, I'll start this with, I didn't know that you could two-man vet flashpoints.
Oh, okay. There's some you can solo.
Yeah,
But you can two-man pretty much all of them?
Yeah, and so Kitty and I spent the weekend running flashpoints in veteran mode. And nice. It was so fun. And just the idea that, my partner and I could go run flashpoints whenever we want.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's watch TV and then go run a flashpoint if we wanted, It's just like, oh my God, it made me so happy. I'm just like, yes. But that's what we did all weekend. We just ran flashpoints and it was super, super fun.
Nice.
Because she hasn't seen them all.
Oh, okay. So there's a thing there too, like achievements and seeing the new content and all that stuff.
Not to mention you get those drops that you can use to unlock the Rhodian vendors. So
right.
I've been unlocking that on alts, which is really cool. So I don't have to just have one companion with it. But anyway, enough for me, Chill. What's up with you and what's up with chat?
All right, let's see. So let's see. We've got let's see who shows up. OM3G4 lol 1337 is here. 152 Domino 24 is here. Alice E. Dre, Donnie Dumpy, DeRozan, Gator Skull 1289, Lorfinial, Gerund. Let's see. Kitty Treats is here. Lodvar, Rain the Exile, Loot Levis, Sith Girl Forever, Snakies, Squishy Twitchy, Starry Saber, Tsunami Safari, and Zamzam are all here. Hey everyone, thanks for coming by. And let's see. So what I've mostly been doing is just, well, like we mentioned earlier, I've been trying to sell the house, so that's been really crazy. It got a little bit better just under a week ago or around a week ago when it actually went up for sale, and even then it's like every day there's still something I have to go and take care of. It's like insane. And yeah, it's like, and I'm trying to just follow the advice of my realtor basically. Just like let her have the expertise and I will just follow her advice, and so far it's worked fine. But haven't had very many long streams or anything. But I did get Scarecrow up to 80. I took him all the way through Zyos, skipped Coffee Kotet, and Fractured Alliances, which includes Iocath and the 3 flashpoints that I call the Trader's Trilogy, but that's technically the name is Fractured Alliances. And then I just started up on Osis again, and because I just did not want to go through all of that. And
sometimes you need a break.
Yeah, and the XP in the chapters is really crummy too. But so partly because of that, I did actually get him to 80. The Madness spec is actually pretty fun on him. I've got the tactical and the implants actually, because I took a character who could be like a related sort of spec. It was actually a shadow, but could actually buy those implants anyway. And then I just sent them to him, so it was ready. It's like, and I was
nice.
Yeah, because I was capping out on my tech points anyway. I'm kind of holding on to as many tech points as I can because we know that gear upgrades are coming. That's part of the PTS.
Yes.
But if I'm going to go over cap, I'm still going to try to find some reasonable use for them. So he now has implants. They're like 326 or whatever. So they're not the best, but they're fine. And especially the tactical feels pretty good because it's the one where you throw one of the two main dots on them, and then when you use force lightning, either the channeled kind or the instant kind, it makes that dot tick at least some of the time. It feels really good, and it's definitely an improvement. The spec is pretty much came together. I actually do like this one a lot better than the similar version on the Assassin / Shadow. I did when I did Loki, and that was during Onslaught, so that was pre 7.0. It was one of the last characters I did in the Onslaught period, and he was a Madness assassin. And I never really fell in love with that spec. But this version it just plays different, and I just like it a lot better. Like the way the dot spreads, and the way that I really like one of the options you can do, because it's not even a mandatory one. It's one of the 3 choices you can make, I think at level 23 or something, and it's called Plague Master. And what it does is it massively increases the cooldown on shock, which is obviously bad. But what it does is when you do shock, it takes those 2 normal, or actually it can be all 3 of the dots, and it just uses up all the damage at once. So if you just you dot, and death field too, because the death field death marks help improve the damage as well. And then you shock, and it takes away all the dots, does all the damage all at once, and it's a huge pop of damage.
Oh man.
When I'm doing it on like a gold who's going to survive it, usually I don't bother with that full rotation against really weak people or anything. But I guess like a gold, I'm popping it, and it can be 50,000-60,000 damage all in one global, which is amazing. And then you have to redo the dots, so there is a definite trade-off by doing Plague Master instead of, I can't remember what the sort of other options were for it. One is sort of an AoE one that it's like it'd be fine for solo content. I could do it on this character, but and then the other one is a little more normal, but it doesn't change the rotation in any way. The Plague Master really changes the rotation in, to me, an interesting way, because that way, if you want to, you can pop all this damage on them, and then either redo the dots or get ready to spread the dot or whatever. It makes the whole spec way more interesting to me. Right. And you also have like this really huge pop every once in a while that you can do that. If sorcerers weren't like the first targets in PvP, it would be really fun to do in PvP. Like if you weren't being focused down constantly, it would actually be pretty fun to do, dot, and then just pop the dots and just blammo. It'd be, massive damage.
You have to do them in a certain order too, because some are shorter than others, and you want to make sure they're all on there.
Yeah, well, the Madness one, there's 2 long ones are both 18, and then there's only the shorter one is then it changes the name, so now I can't remember even what it is, but it's the one that goes boom, boom, boom on you. If you ever get put it on you, that one, yeah.
I hate that one.
That one usually lasts, if you're not Madness, it's like a 6 second, but if you're Madness, it extends it out to 9 seconds, so it's actually even more deadly. But still, the idea that I always take is hit that one and then immediately pop the damage, because that way you'll have all 9 seconds of that one, and plus a good amount of the other 2 up.
Right.
Kitty Trees is saying, yes, spread the dots, la la la. Yeah. I always call it spread the love on a dot spec. So it's time to spread the love. And boop. I do like the dot spread pretty well. It's basically Death Field. Death Field spreads your dot. It's not the easiest one, because Death Field has a pretty good cooldown, and if you muck it up, if you miss target it or hit the wrong target, or they die, and or that target dies right before you do it, and then it does it, but then the target's dead, so there's nothing to spread. It's you're like 12 seconds away from your next possible dot spread. You still have your lightning storm if you need it. It's not terribly good, but it does stun weaks, so it definitely has, it's definitely not bad in solo content. But yeah, anyway, it's a fun little spec, and there's definitely a lot to like there.
Cool.
And I looked up, I think it was Volk's, it was definitely Volk's 7.0, Madness Sorcerer Guide. And I don't think that the Plague Master is considered like the most common way to do it. But to me, it's like way more fun this way. Because otherwise it's just like dot, and just like lightning. Oh, we need to redo the dots, lightning. And that's fine. If it's best, if it's the best way to do it, great. As an operations person or whatever, please do it that way. But I'm, cosplaying a Scarecrow character, and I want to do as many dots as possible.
Right.
And so having this Plague Master ability, and the name itself is awesome, and just doing these huge pops of madness damage is just, it feels really good. Anyway, so he's 80, and then I've continued on with him because he's now most of the way through Onslaught, and I'm about to do the Corellia Flashpoint. And really enjoying it. So also did Jar Jar Joyride with the guild last Friday. That was fun. I actually got it because of the house, I haven't been doing any Jar Jar Joyrides for quite a while now. So it felt good to kind of get back with them.
Yeah.
We did because the Gree event was active at that point, we did the Gree boss and some of the world bosses. We did 2 of the ones on Ilum. Those were pretty fun.
Right.
And and they were relatively difficult. Like we actually did sort of semi-wiped on one. We actually did wipe on another one, and then we kind of sucked it up and like did it properly, and then it worked better. It's like, okay, yeah, we actually need to interrupt this or get out of that or whatever. And it was that I was on my tank, and that was actually pretty fun because one of the bosses has like this big mechanic where they knock back the tank, and then the other tank is supposed to pick up threat right away. So it's really fun to actually just like get knocked way back, and then like run forward or jump if you have the cooldown up, and jump forward, and or when the other guy gets knocked back, then you take over threat, you taunt right away and stuff like that. Some pretty good fights there, and then we did a couple other world bosses, so we get the 4 world bosses for the week business.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we did one on Drummond Koss, and gosh, what was the other one? I can't remember the 4th one for some reason. It was pretty quick though. So that was really great. It was great to kind of be with the guys again.
Yeah, I miss everybody.
Yeah,
I'm just so tired by that time.
It's true because you have that early shift stuff for your day job, so it makes sense. Absolutely. Let's see. So that will bring us to the tip of the week. Just have a couple quick tips this week from me. This is just about if you only get a few weeklies done on a server, or especially on your main server, then I would suggest not taking out the 10 game modules from Galactic Seasons levels, because that's one of the things you get every so often over the course of the 100 levels. Is every once in a while you can get 10 of those game modules that you need for the reputation. But don't do that. Just leave them in, and then because they do actually count towards the 440 modules weekly. Every few weeks, there's one where if you get 40 of the modules, you get another one. You've completed another one. So, So the normal way, of course, is finishing weeklies, but you can also get some as drops, especially if you're doing flashpoints. You can also get 2 every day. So there's a lot of ways to get them. They're also super rare, but you can get them as a drop, especially if you have Faye as your actual companion out. But they're super rare. But as it turns out, pulling them out of your Galactic Seasons reward track and just popping them out, that counts towards the weekly. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, so I've learned just not to do them at all. And I'll just go back and do them at the end of the season, when I'm sure I don't need them for any more weeklies, and then I'll just, do them. I'll just grab them all at some point.
Veteran bosses are also dropping those, so.
Yeah, they are. They are for sure. And when I was doing that Jar Jar Joyride, and we were doing, the boss and all the world bosses, we were getting small amounts of modules pretty much every time. So it was good.
It's a good one.
And then, Kitty, you have one.
I do. I just wanted to reiterate and confirm that now this is what I could tell for how many days I had to check it on, but on your login rewards, if you wait 7 days to claim your rewards and use the claim all button on your reward thingy, all of your rewards will be dropped into one single box on your inventory.
Oh, wow.
So that you don't have to, have all that stuff crowding up your precious.
That's interesting.
Cargo space.
Yeah. No, I every time I log in, I always have to grab it.
Because you don't want to see it blinking up there,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. And in the back of my head, it's always, you might forget it, which of course I won't, but
no.
Yeah. But
also if exactly. That stuff will also, if you.
That's cool to know though.
I noticed that I went 12 days or 10 days or something like that. And I claimed it, and I noticed that some stuff, I'm not sure 100% why this happened, but some of the stuff went into my mailbox. I noticed I got some from the mailbox, which, hey, that's another way to save
inventory space as well.
If you need it, yeah. So.
Just hang on to it in mailbox for a while.
Just a little
I've definitely done that before.
Everybody.
Yeah, I've definitely done that, especially at periods of time where my banking all has just been overwhelmed, usually towards like the end of an expansion or something like that. And then I'll start using the mailbox in various ways, just kind of leave it in the mail. And then every once in a while, okay, well, this is going to go away if I don't pick it up. So
yeah, that's that's the catch on that.
That's the catch on that for sure. Especially
90 days or something.
Yeah. Yes, I believe so. And then it's even worse, like for me, if I've actually like looked at it so it doesn't show as new mail, because that way it's just sitting in there and the timer's clicking away, but you might not remember. But hopefully, I mean, if it's my banking alt, I'm going to check it more than once every 90 days, or at least I'm going to get something more than every 90 days, and I'll notice, oh, okay, I've got other junk in here too. That's actually kind of cool though, that it'll give you a little box and it has all those like multiple day rewards. Because that's not how I would have assumed it would have worked. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was
excellent.
very happy.
All right, then. If you have a tip of the week, send it to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show. You can get a Tonfon or M83R droid pet code or M2B9 droid code courtesy of BioWare, plus a 450cc code as well, also from BioWare. That'll bring us to the Mind Trap. And let me go ahead and pull this up on the show notes here. So, because we did have the dev stream and we found out a lot about 7.2, the question was, what are you looking forward to most in 7.2? And let's see. So, we had 4 options. One is the new Runic story and the daily area. One is PvP changes. One is UI and UX updates, and one is the Life Day event. There's a few other things that they mentioned that we could have put on, but of course, it's limited to 4. So that's those seem to us to be the best ones to put on there. But obviously, people could choose, could respond with other things if they wanted to. We did get 85 votes, which is definitely on the low side. I think Twitter is definitely having some issues.
A little bit.
If you follow the news, there's a lot of issues going on there. Actually, it's kind of amazing it's still working as well as it is. But so we may have to visit that at some point sooner rather than later. But still, we appreciate the retweets. We appreciate the votes. And the winner was a Runic story and daily area, kind of going away at 55.3% of the vote. That was actually what I voted for. How about you, Kitty?
UI. I wanted those UI updates.
Those sweet UIs.
Yeah, particularly
Nice.
the map.
Well, that was that got second. UI UX updates were at 18.8%. Just behind that was PvP changes at 15.3% and Life Day event at 10.6%. We'll be talking about all this stuff pretty soon here in the news section. And so Graham said dailyers are starting to mount up. Shame there are so few rewards gained from any of them. The change to PvP is welcome. Ranked was poorly implemented, intended for the masses, but only played by the toxic few. Weldon's mom said, "I want my new stronghold." and Eldritch Crow said, "The Mando boys." So that's kind of referring to some of the story stuff. We'll try to avoid. and grills, right. We'll try to avoid spoilers, but there's a Mando angle to the 7.2 story. I think that's pretty reasonable to say without going too into detail. So anyway, Runic area story / daily area was definitely the winner, but pretty reasonable amount for the other ones. Life Day event at only 10%, but that's just a returning event. Right. It's an annual event that people do like. A lot of people do like. Some people, of course, don't. But
hugging Wookiees,
and throwing snowballs. I think it's fun, but I always have troubles with that sort of thing. It's not the sort of thing I can find myself focused on. In fact, it helped that today, I saw on Facebook that SWTOR had posted that this is the last week for the Feast of Prosperity. It's like, oh yeah, because I keep putting off doing anything about that. So I really should at least see the ones for this time around. See what's the same, see what's different, and all that.
Oh, I did collect all of the mounts from the Feast of Prosperity.
Oh, nice. So, yeah. Is there a favorite?
Ooh, I like the new. I think it's the Garuba. Mm-hmm. Anyway, one of the new mounts that's kind of looks a little fancy.
I think they're skiffs. They call them skiffs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's got I'm miming what it looks like on a audio podcast. So that makes a lot of sense. But anyway, I like it.
Very nice.
I like the whichever the hell I'm trying to say. Thrown in the towel, chill. Let's.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to do it. I did kind of burn myself a little bit out on it. Like the very first year, I did tons and tons of dailies on that, and I kind of got sick of seeing the inside of that kitchen. But I really should get back to it and see what it's different and grab a few new rewards and stuff like that.
Do it this week because I had a lot of fun returning to it.
Yeah,
because I didn't do it the last 2 times it was out last year. I didn't touch it. And this time I had a lot of fun. It was really, really fun.
Okay, cool. That'll bring us to the holofeed then. And so, of course, just a couple days after our last show was the 7.2 live stream.
Of course.
It's just kind of how these things sort of work. But, it's okay, actually. Sometimes it's fun to have a show that's right after the dev stream, but often though there's little bits of extra information and stuff that do sort of dribble out over the next few days as they sort of calm concerns or clarify or add extra information or whatever. And that did happen a fair bit this time as well. But it was very Jackie, I think, was sort of the main force behind it. From what I could tell, she was doing the sort of making sure everything was ready for it, and it was very cool. They had different people, and some of them were pre-recorded, but some of them, but then she and Musco were live, and there was just a lot of really cool stuff. She actually gave me a shout out at the start of the
I know,
show.
I heard that.
It was cool. She was just confirming that she was just it was kind of coincidental. It was totally coincidental actually, because she was saying, okay, well, every once in a while, I'm going to look way over here, and that's because I now have our chat over here, and I did happen to have just chatted, and she says, and there's Chill. So hi, Chill. Nice. So I said hi. So I kind of did back. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, the quality of that stream, the production on that stream, I think was the best I've ever seen.
Exactly.
For the SWTOR stuff.
And I'm pretty sure. It's always going to be a team effort, but I'm pretty sure Jackie was, pretty much the hand on the reins there. There's a lot of really good music that they used before the show and between the little segments and stuff. It was good, really, just really good. In fact, I even tweeted out about it, trying to figure out is this new music or not. It turns out it was music that was used for 7.0 launch and stuff like that. So it was relatively obscure. It wasn't something that you would necessarily recognize quite yet, but there's some really good music there, and I'm gonna have to. Apparently, I need to go back and pay attention to some of that music.
Something that was a question that people were asking during the live stream was, where can we buy the hoodies that they were wearing, the devs were wearing? And Jackie got back to me, and she replied that they were made for the devs themselves.
That's
However, cool. I think I would love one. And it would be cool to get a merch store going, I think, for SWTOR swag.
It's true.
Throwing it out there.
Yeah, it's true, because there's not a lot of real-life SWTOR swag out there. There's a little bit from launch, with like the Journal of Nosteral and, the Malgus statue and stuff like that. But there was the encyclopedia that came out around that time as well. But not really a ton of SWTOR merch in real life. It's, a ton on the cartel market, though. So, okay, so we'll try to avoid spoilers, but if you want to completely avoid the 7.2 details, of course, you're going to have to kind of skip this part. But anyway, so the main parts were, and this is where the mind trap came from, but basically there's a new planet, Runuk, Ruhnuk, and it's completely new apparently to SWTOR, and it's set up as it used to be a mining colony, and that the mining colony has sort of gone away, and it's now been taken over by the breakaway Mandalorian faction that Shae Vizsla, has been going after. There's going to be a story for it as well as a daily area. And that's going to include pretty much like all the stuff you would expect from a new like daily area and new story and all that. And along with the other tweet that I was talking about, Jackie did say that there was going to be some new music as well. And I think I heard something about some Datacrons or a Datacron or two, which would be cool. Those are always fun. I mean, you can't really do them more than once, per thing, really. But it's fun to do. It's fun to see them.
Yeah, they're fun.
And so that's like one big chunk of it. There's changes to PvP. There's UI and UX updates. There is 7.2 gearing, which is one of the things we were thinking of putting on the Mind Trap, but kind of decided not to. But 7.2, the gear level is going to go up, and we'll talk about that in a second. There are new cartel market items, which actually they did a good job selling them in the dev stream. There's some really cool things about them. Like they actually they actually did like a 3D print of it or of part of it and stuff like that. It was really cool. Really cool. Yeah, Life Day event, and that we know that it's launching this winter, which is hard to know exactly what that means.
How about this winter?
Hopefully in December, we presume. I mean, technically it starts at whatever 21st of December in the U.S. That's sort of what's considered right. Winter. Some countries consider it other times. And they could do it slightly before that as well. I'm hoping it's in December, but we'll see. Let's see. They had a redeem code. I think that has gone past now, though. But it had it's a little poster for that you can put up, and goes to all of your characters. So as many characters you have, you can get that many posters to put up on the thing. So this is for anyway. There's an intro to Ruhnuk. It was a never before seen planet. Ashley Rule, the narrative director, and Robbie Lamb, senior environment artist, talked about this. So it's a river valley planet, or at least the part of it that we see, had a mining facility. They use the Grand Canyon, Arizona copper mines, and Colorado plateaus as sort of the touchstones for it. It's usually dry, but when it rains, it absolutely pours. So there's that sort of thing going on. And because of that, there's some lush foliage, despite it being largely arid. There's a heavy nebula around the planet, and mining was halted. There's some other details. We'll just go ahead and kill that note here. Hedekol and the Hidden Chain found the abandoned mining operation, and then Hedekol repurposed the mines to become a base of operations. And as they say, there are many tunnels and many secrets here. So what that exactly means, we don't know. Are there civilizations there, or who knows, or just we will find out. I feel the rundown on the characters gets a little spoilery for me, so I'm going to kind of break away from that anyway, but because I think that we're kind of gotten towards spoiler territory anyway, so I think we'll kind of leave that alone. But anyway, there are some returning characters, some new characters, And
there you go.
We'll leave it there. If you are interested, of course, the dev stream, is available on, I think it's their YouTube channel, but also their Twitch channel usually has it as well. There is a new story, and it has now been released a few days ago. And he did one earlier called Seeing Red, about the crisis among the Mandos when Shay left for the hunt. And there's 2 more stories, and at the time of the stream, they were not yet released, but it has been now, and I'll have a link later on. It's called Bottle Fury, I believe is the name of the thing. It's about Shay Vizsla on Mek-Sha, and it's actually a really fun little story.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's worth reading. It's a lot of fun, and kind of lets you know where Shay is, like, in her hunt and what she's up to. Caitlin Sullivan Kelly, the lead writer, then talked about, like, the daily area. There's a 3-mission story arc for each side, where you're going to assist some forces to track down blah, blah, blah. I know, again, we're going to kind of stay away from spoilers. There is a new reputation track, so there is a rep on Runic, so that is always good to go after.
I love those, yeah.
Yep. So there's a couple of titles that'll be available: Champion of the Avenger and Celebrated and Remembered. So some pretty interesting titles. I like those, actually. Yeah. There's also a giant mushroom tree deco and a cactus-like Lambro deco. So those sound pretty cool. Giant mushrooms are always a fun sort of sci-fi trope.
Yeah.
And there's some mining vehicle decos, rock crusher, bulldozer. There's a Mandalorian shuttle. So there's a lot of good stuff. There's a wetlands mudhorn mount. So if you like the mudhorns, which you've seen them in, like, Mandalorian recently, for example, then there's gonna be a wetlands mudhorn mount. And
so that'll be the second mount, mudhorn mount.
Yeah. And they are going to be doing that thing where when you do the story, it's going to unlock these buffs that can be used on Runic. So it'll be interesting to see how they sort of do that. There was a bit of that in Manon too. I don't know how they talked about it as though they weren't, quite happy with how it ended up working. Like, it was something that this is like the first time they'd really tried this, where there's sort of like this temporary buff while you're in an area. I guess it's not the absolutely first time it's been in the game. I mean, there was the GSI satellite support on Makeb, for example. But this was a little bit different, where it could kind of give you some semi-active abilities and stuff like that. I'm talking about at Manon still. And they're going to do something similar here on the new daily area. There will be a new weekly world boss, Kithral, and that is on the PTS as well. I haven't heard how that one's going, but I know that they've done some requests, of course, for feedback. They're always happy to get feedback on the PTS. That's why it's there.
Get on PTS, everybody. Get that feedback going.
Yep. After they talked about the new planet, then they talked about PvP changes. This was with Eric Musco and Jackie Coe. And so basically, okay, so here's the main thing about PvP is, like, they're changing how it works, essentially, like how you queue up, how you sign up, and the rewards. Like, all of that is changing. So the whole regular versus ranked is going away. There's not going to be a separate ranked thing, so it's not really going to be ranked at all. I understand there is going to be some sort of behind the scenes, sort of like, general ELO level, as it's called, like a general skill level. But basically what's going to happen is you can either queue for the 8v8 war zones or the 4v4 arenas. But there's not going to be like a separate ranked versus non-ranked. Instead, all the missions that you do, the various rewards that you get for finishing the matches and completing them better and doing well in them and all that sort of thing, will give you progress on a track that's a lot like Galactic Seasons. So there's going to be like a PvP track. That's going to be like the PvP season. Instead of having a ranked season, there's going to be like just a PvP season, and as you play PvP, you'll advance along that track and gain various kinds of rewards. So subs do, if you're subscribed, you earn progress 2 times faster. But, and this is one of the other cool things, free to play will no longer be restricted. You can actually just sign up as much as you want, which is awesome because having free to play players limited to, I think it was only 1 or 2 a day, and even preferred, I think only could have like a handful a day unless you like paid for these unlocks, but then why aren't you subscribed? You know, it really limited the amount of people who actually could participate in PvP, and this will definitely open that up and hopefully get more interest in PvP itself, which is awesome.
Yeah, get some more people playing.
Yeah. So there's going to be a new PvP currency and seasonal PvP vendor with new rewards, and they did want to note, and they've since also made sure to re-note this, the old ranked PvP tokens are going away. Like when 7.2 launches and this new PvP thing comes, any ranked PvP tokens you have are going bye-bye. So you need to use them. Like go use them now if you're listening and you have them, and
spend them all.
Spend them. Get rid of them because they are going away. So the other idea is that there's going to be vendors that have some of these older rewards, but they're not going to be easy to get. So don't just assume that like, oh, I can just replace with the new tokens or anything. We'll talk about this again in a minute, but they did clarify that while you're going to get tokens to get some of these legacy sort of or older rewards available from the vendor, you're not going to be able to get those at a very fast rate. Like the thing you'll be getting at a good clip is the stuff from the current season, and if you want any of the past season stuff, you'll be able to get it, but it's going to take a while. So definitely use those tokens if you have them. The exact tracks are still to be determined. The general idea is it's going to include decos, it's going to include armor sets, it's going to include tokens, and I don't think I wrote down weapons, but I'm pretty sure that would be part of it.
Yeah,
too.
I was just going to say, I bet there's weapons as well.
Also titles. So there you go. There is a new 4v4 arena map, Onderon Palatial Ruins, and they showed a little. They did a little 3D flyover of it, and very Onderon, very very much of that planet, and it could be very interesting. It looked a little congested. Like it'll be interesting to see like how difficult it will be with like line of sight issues and stuff like that.
Right.
But it was very pretty. So we'll see how it actually plays, but I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
These things are always at least fun to try out. So what do you think about the PvP changes in general, Kitty? Like how much PvP do you do now versus how much PvP do you think you'll do, when these changes go live? Assuming they go live roughly how they are saying.
I don't really PvP that much, and I don't think that that's going to change at least, right now. But who knows? Maybe I'll get the bug once that track is introduced. I'll be like, okay, I need to have that armor set. So
that looks, yeah.
Now I'm gonna.
That looks cool. That looks cool.
Get it. Yeah, exactly. And as far as them changing it, I mean, I've heard some negative things from some, PvPers, and those are, from what I understand, there's only like a really low percentage of people that were doing and achieving the high ranks in PvP, the seasons. Right. And it's just the work that they had to put into making,
ranked PvP rewards,
the ranked
and
PvP
stuff.
rewards, keeping people from being complete bastards to each other.
Right.
And
yeah, that was like a whole category of things that they would have to talk about, like on the forums and stuff.
All the time for a very, very small percentage of people.
Right.
And I mean, it's an MMO. It has to be. You have to think of everybody. You have to try and involve everybody. So
right.
I get it, and I hope it changes PvP in a positive way and get some some people out there doing it.
I hope so too. I definitely am going to be playing more PvP than I am now, for sure, because like it's been pretty minimal for me. Like I tend to do when the nightlife event is out and I'm getting bored of just pulling the machines, I'll make a leveling PvP character and I'll do leveling PvP.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, exactly. And we did that together, and I also did some solo stuff as well, and it's a lot of fun to do that. But I haven't been doing a lot outside of that, and it'll be nice to have like some sort of real reason to do PvP. I will probably try the endgame PvP, like see how face mashed into the ground I get, but it'll be fun to try. But even if it turns out to be like really nasty, like hard to deal with, like at endgame, like just because people are better than me or better geared or whatever, I still think leveling PvP will be fun, and it will count towards this track as I understand it. So cool. Yeah, there's no reason why you can't do some leveling PvP and get some stuff going that way as well.
Yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll see how it shakes out. But I definitely think that it's like, at least this has a good chance of doing what they want, which is to make it a more popular,
more accessible, for everybody.
Accessible, right, mode of the game. Because right now it's like they do everything they can to make people want to do it. It's been part of the various rewards for seasons, and for other things too. They have all kind of, the weekly missions and all kinds of other things, and then they've had the ranked season rewards as well.
Right.
So there's been lots of, they've always been trying to find ways to get more people to do PvP, but when it's locked down so that almost entirely only the subscribers can actually do it, and B, the ranked is so competitive and like it just becomes and gets very toxic sometimes, apparently. Personally, I haven't done it for a number of seasons, but you always hear about it.
Right.
Yeah, that I think it's good that we're going to have this option. It's kind of also, I think some people are actually going to like the fact that you can actually queue for 8v8 or queue for 4v4, and they're separate.
That's a great, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to do that because, like, some people, I know there's a lot of folks who just don't like the arenas, or they get tired of them because the time of the day that they play, if the war zones aren't popping very much, then the game automatically defaults to the 4v4 because it requires half the people. And this way, even if it's not popping, but hopefully it will be, because of the changes, but, even if it's not super popping, at least that when it pops, you'll be getting an 8v8. Or if you like 4v4, which actually I think the arenas are pretty fun.
Yeah, they can be.
But I know there's other people who don't, I
like having objectives.
It's fun to have the objectives. It is really fun to have the objectives. For me, a lot of fun is like, I like certain arenas. Like, it's like, okay, like in this arena, like if I have a big knockback, I can knock him off the Mandalorian,
oh, I know exactly
thing.
What you're talking
about. Mandalorian butte thing. But, and that's a lot of fun to sort of try to get, people knocked off or whatever, or, line of sight them or find other ways to, but yeah, I have fun with the AV8s and actually having like different type of missions, sort of, so to speak.
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I will definitely do at least more leveling PvP, and probably I will see how the end game stuff is too, see whether I can, whether I'm any use at all in it. But it'll be fun anyway.
And you know what? Maybe with having all the really good players in there, people will improve their skills. Be able to kind of learn how to play better. Mm-hmm. Maybe, I don't know.
Right. Well, exactly. Well, if more people are, then hopefully more people will fall in love with it and then get good at it.
Word.
Yep. All right. Anyway, so let's see. Let's go on to, there's the new gear new ceilings on gear for 7.2. Decurion is going from 336 to from 330, so 6 points more. And most others are doing the exact same thing, except for operations. Those are going up to 340. The difference in this case is they're also increasing the floors. Like the floor was 318, now it's going to be 322. So, if you're getting any quote unquote starter gear, it's actually going to start at 322, not 318, cutting off a little bit of the track. Although you notice that's only 4 points, which is 2 gear jumps up and not 3, which is at the top end. So the floor is going up less than the ceiling. So it's still actually making it a little wider if you're just first getting a character, for the first time up to level 80 and having to do the gear grind. But still, at least it'll help a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's see, there will be a forum post about the 7.2 balance class changes, and we'll talk about that in a sec. The UI UX update, so user interface and user experience updates. So the map revamp, you've talked about this. And apparently you love it. You love having the little map out there, and you like it so it move. And that one you do have move around, or do you keep that one? You keep that one at True North as well. Yeah. So the mini map and the new unlocked map are both are True North for you.
Correct.
Cool. Can you make it so like the mini map is spinny, but the regular map is locked to North?
You know what? I take that back. My big map is True North. My mini map is spinny.
Oh, cool. So you can do that.
I think. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
Right.
They seem so much more separate, customizable that they would have thought of that.
Okay. That's pretty cool though. Either way, yeah, it's pretty nice. So that's we've talked about that a fair bit. The updated tooltips you also mentioned, so that you can have little buttons and you can change it to different things, different parts of the game that you want to access faster. They've also asked for feedback on that, like what's not, what do we not have on this bar that you think should be there, that sort of thing. So definitely, if you're doing the PTS, this is the time of the game when they're actively asking you for your ideas. Yeah. And in the case of the toolbars, the little updatable toolbar thingy, they're literally asking you like what functions of the game that aren't, if you go into the PTS and try it out, what's not there that you think should be there or you would just like there to be there. Customizable utility bar, updated tooltips. Oh, the updated tooltips is slightly different. So that was the updated customizable utility bar. The updated tooltips is where you can have the actual tooltip follow your cursor around instead of show up on one part of the screen all the time.
I love that.
Yeah, which feels much more modern or much more, because I've always tried to find a good spot for it, and there's always some openable thing in inventory, character bar, or whatever that's going to block it off sometimes. So it'll be nice to have it on the mouse tip, the tip of the mouse cursor. Colorblind mode we've also talked about a little bit, and I'm excited to see how that works.
I hope it helps folks.
Right, exactly. So it'll be fun to see how the various ones look like as well. And let's see. And then the Bradley Lewis, the art monetization director, which it's a good title. 7.2 item sneak peek, Master Oar's lightsaber. So it's going to have a high fidelity blade and hilt effects with a nice turn on sound. So they worked to make sure the sound effects as well was extra cool. And he Bradley machine shopped his own hilt. So Bradley Lewis went to his own little, apparently it was in his house, it sounded like, and actually just made his machine shopped his own hilt and then showed it, and Jackie was like, it was pretty cool.
It was really cool.
And the ceremonial Beskad blade, the Recon's vibro axe, and which will include the Mandalorian show's fuzzy vibro effect, which is pretty cool. So vibro weapons have been a thing in Star Wars forever and ever. It goes back to the old days and stuff like that, pre-Disney and all that. But it's true. The Mandalorian show is the first time they actually showed the vibrations really obviously, where it made the whole blade kind of like look like it was.
It's like one of those electric turkey cutters.
Yeah, exactly. and the Recon's vibro axe is going to have that effect on it, so that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun to check out.
That's the weapon I'm most excited for. That is
because of the effect, or because you like the axe?
I like the axe, and I like the effect too. So out of all the stuff that's coming on the cartel market, that's
nice.
That's my priority item.
Right, and then the Life Day event, 5 weeks around the 7.2 launch, which is another hint that I'm sure they're at least hoping that it'll come out in December, because it would feel weird if Life Day was post New Year. But hey, we'll see how it goes. These things come when they come, and they don't tell us ahead of time, until they tell us. So yeah, there's going to be 4 new snow globe sort of deco things. R4, Manon, Runic, and Elam. So the new planet, Elam, R4, and Manon are all going to have a new snow globe deco. There's going to be a gala hat with a shimmery gemstone effect, which is going to be pretty cool.
I need to see that.
Yeah, and they made it seem like it's really going to have like a cool effect on it. Jackie said she had seen it and really liked it on the stream, so that sounds pretty cool. And then and also they want you to like notice when Life Day is going, like look at the fleet, because some things on the fleet are going to change, which is pretty cool.
Yay!
Yeah. And let's see, and which is always slightly true, but it's usually mostly just like right around the little vendor for Life Day. So it'll be interesting to see like what else they do. Like, are they going to do other decos around, or put some extra NPCs or something? I don't know. And let's see, there was an official recap as well. So in addition to watching the whole thing, you can read their recap. There's a link to it in the show notes. The story Bottled Fury, which, like I said, the writer came on and told us about the stories. Bottled Fury is about Shay Vizsla on Mek Shah, and that's by Jay Watamaniak. Sorry about the pronunciation. It was uncredited on the actual page, but confirmed by him both in the live stream and also in the forum, so we know that he wrote it. And let's see, let's go ahead and do here. The devs are, 7.2 PTS is now live, as we've mentioned, and they're asking for your feedback. Obviously, they're happy to get all kinds of feedback, whether it's about bugs or but also about balance changes. The new planet. How are what are the impressions of it? Do you have any difficulty traveling or locating objectives? Stuff like that. So this is the time when, if you want to make the game better, this is where they're actively asking for your help. Let's see.
Come and help.
Yeah. They're asking about the Runic World boss. They're asking about the 7.2 gearing. So upgrading gear on vendors. Do you find it easier to see what items can be upgraded on the PTS compared to live? Because apparently they're making some changes to try to make it easier, but obviously that can backfire. So they want feedback to see how they're doing. Sith gear and currency bag drops from silver and gold enemies. Please spend some time killing silver and gold enemies around the galaxy. How do you feel about the rate of Sith gear drops compared to the rate of endgame currency bags? Interesting. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work out, but that sounds interesting. For the 7.2 custom utility bar feedback, what other buttons would you want available? What additional functionality would you want for custom bars in the future? How many button slots are you typically using? And what buttons would you want on by default? So all interesting questions. Yeah. And all tricky questions to answer. Like, I'm sure that they have to think about it. It's like, we have this feedback, we have this utility bar. It's like, what should be there automatically versus like what should be addable, because of course you don't want to make people mad by making too many things on by default, but on the other hand, if like people not everyone's going to necessarily going to want to go through the whole list and see all the different options and customize it perfectly. So what is it, like a good baseline to have that, so that people won't have to do that and still have some good utility out of it? Yeah,
I am stumped. I don't know what else that I would want on that toolbar available. There's a lot of stuff. And if I remember correctly, there was 17 slots that you could put stuff on. And I don't remember if there were more than 17 options that they had available.
Okay.
So
you could, and there's at least if that's correct, then you could actually put everything they have on there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and there's two. I think one had 8 to 12, I don't remember, and the other one had like 17, 18.
Nice.
So, that's a lot of slots.
Yeah. Several people like Kitty Treats and Sotor Angels and Starry Saber all feel that inventory needs search bars, which is interesting. I'd say that sometimes if I'm in my legacy cargo or if I'm on my banking alt, there's just a lot of stuff, and I've definitely missed stuff before that I've needed and couldn't find, or I accidentally put it somewhere, and then, oh my gosh, where did it actually end up?
How many people's XP outfit did they know exactly where their XP outfit is right now?
Yeah, I
have no idea.
Yep, no, I would have to go through. I'm pretty sure it's on a character, and it ended up staying on that character, but I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, no idea. So, and similar things for the map revamp and the class balance changes. So there are some class balance changes. We did talk about them some on the last show. Let me actually go about. There was an extra thing about this. So let me find it here. Where is it?
What page are you going to?
Go. I'm going to. Right now, I'm on page 22.
Okay.
Let's see. This is Shabir Dylan wrote. One of the devs wrote, balance changes coming to 7.2. Hey, everyone, should be here with another round of balance changes. We looked at tanks across all 3 disciplines, made adjustments to bring up their threat generation as well as damage in line with our targets for tanks. There are also adjustments made to Marauder Sentinel and Mercenary Commando. And we don't necessarily need to go over every last change, but you could tell, especially when you're looking at the tank ones, that they were definitely like upping the damage a fair bit. And to me, that actually makes sense. At least it feels good, because like I have like a main damage spec and a main tank spec. And recently I've been doing this. I actually did finish it. Like I think I talked about it on the last show, where it's on Mech Shaw, and you fight this champion sometimes, or sometimes it's like this bunch of golds and bunch of normals and whatever. Anyway, the champion, it took so long to kill on my tank, because like it just took effing forever. And I had Zio as a healer, so obviously I was in like the lowest damage sort of combo there with a healing companion and myself on tank. And I understood that. It still felt very, very slow. So yeah, it's going to be nice if the damage goes up a little bit.
It'll help you keep aggro too.
Yeah. So those are all the sort of the general ones. But I wanted to kind of look this extra one. Let me go down a little further. This is now down to page 27. Chris Durrell wrote, there's been a lot of discussion around Marauder changes, particularly Annihilation. I'd like to give a little reasoning as to why these changes are being made. As we continue feedback, y'all can have the context of what the goal was. Annihilation Watchmen, which I'll just call Annihilation from here out, were consistently outperforming our DPS targets slightly, and we noticed that their level 23 mod choices were very unbalanced. While we enjoyed the gameplay they offered, unfortunately it made their optimal DPS require a strict rotation that was only usable if they selected Draining Center mod choice. The redesign for these choices was to make all mods at level 23 competitive with one another. On the PTS, any choice Annihilation makes at level 23 is now a good one. While some are slightly better than others in some circumstances, there is no wrong choice.
Cool.
We understand this removes a particular rotation people enjoyed in 7.0, but it believes it opens up the door for more playstyle choices, as multiple mod choice paths offer competitive DPS. We are exploring ways to give a semblance of this back without making it best in slot. So, to be perfectly clear, any choice on Force Rend that makes it into a burst damage utility should not be the optimal DPS choice, so it can't outperform the rest in all cases, but it can be close. Annihilation has never been intended to be a burst class, and while we seek to give it some burst options with mod choices, we do not want those choices to be out and out above the rest. So I hope that clears up the reasoning behind why we've done some of the things we've done. As we continue to gather feedback, please keep these in mind. I'd like to request that you try out some of the other Annihilation mods and see how you feel about the rotation and damage output. So that's pretty. So that was nice to know. It's like it's always fun to hear like the background of like why they're thinking of making the changes they are, and
like that.
Yeah, and it's clear. And when you see this next one as well, and then we'll come back to the PvP one from Musco. let's see. Let me get to the other one. The other one is from Shabir Dilian again. This one's on page 29. Hey everyone, Shabir back with another update. Looking over the data collected from PTS and player feedback on Fury Concentration, we'll be making changes in regards to their DPS performance. We're implementing the following changes. Gravity Fissure, Berserk / Zen no longer causes your ability to auto-crit, and Vehemence Fervor, critical strike damage from all attacks increased back up to 10% from 5%. The feedback. I wanted to add a bit of insight as to this change, as it does not come lightly. Since Fury Concentration is a hybrid spec, we saw that Fury Concentration was leaning too far as a burst spec and wanted to bring back into balance as a hybrid spec. This change also gives more flexibility to the player when they activate Berserk / Zen. This also allowed Carnage in combat to further establish itself as the burst specialization, and Annihilation Watchman to establish itself as the sustain spec. So that's one. It's clear that that's actually something that they've been focusing on, because both of these changes had to do with sort of making the spec the sort of spec that it's intended to be. In other words, burst specs bursty, dot specs dotty, and sort of combo ones in the middle.
Yeah, because Fury Concentration, those are my specs. Or that's what I like. So that's interesting.
Right. So yeah, this will make you a little more dotty, because instead of having the auto crit ability, you're going to have critical strike damage from all attacks up 10% from 5%. So more damage, but just in general when using.
Cool.
Yeah. When using that. So that's good. I think that's just in general, isn't it? From all attacks. Yeah. So it's just all attacks. And then.
Damn.
Yeah. Let's see. I did kind of mention this earlier, but it'd be good to hear Musco's actual words on this. So this is about the PvP revamp and the rewards, especially the old reward tokens. I want to make sure to get yellow text on this, as he calls it, because dev text shows up in yellow on the forums. When 7.2 goes live, all ranked PvP tokens are going away, so please be sure to spend them as soon as possible. But we've already talked about that. The next part is sort of like the clarification of what we were talking about that I think is interesting to hear. The items that players could purchase with those tokens will be moved to the new PvP vendors, where they will be purchasable with the new PvP seasonal currency. While these items will still be available on the vendor, they will not be easy to obtain. The rate that players will be earning the new PvP currency will only allow them to purchase either new items or 1 to 2 replicas. So keep in mind the players can only earn a fixed amount of tokens per season, and there will be new rewards added to that vendor with every new season as well. Essentially, if a player who has not previously engaged with rank play focused all their efforts into obtaining these replicas and none of the new items, it would take a really long time to do so. In short, players will not be able to buy everything quickly. If you don't have the old rewards, you will need to decide if you want to spend your tokens on older items or the newer ones. So in others, they're gearing it towards, like, if you're getting points in the current season, you should be able to easily get all the stuff from that season. But if you really want some of the old rewards, you can get them, but it's going to be it's quote unquote expensive. You just can't get very much of it. Yeah, it's going to take quite a bit of time. So yeah, so there we go. Having said all that, that kind of makes me even more interested in PvP, actually, because it's always nice to know.
Yeah, I know. Right?
It's always nice to hear these sort of things. It's like, yes, we're gonna see how this works out. Where there's now an 8v8 queue. There's going to be a 4v4 queue, and and some people will just do one because they like one or the other. Some people, I'm sure, will queue up for both. It'll be interesting to see how all that works out.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, since you've been talking about it, I'm like, now.
I know, it's kind of I kind of want to do some PvP now. It's not even out yet, or at least it's not live yet. It's on the PTS though, and I'm sure they're also wanting to know how people like the 4v4 arena too, since that's going to be coming out as well.
Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah, when you do PvP, do you usually stick to one spec, Kitty, or do you just do it on whatever character you're leveling up and gearing up at that time?
A little bit. Lately I've been sticking to my what's it called? the stealth agent.
Okay. Is it the backstabby spec or the dot spec?
Backstabby.
Okay.
I like the backstabby spec. However, I do like my sharpshooter spec, which is just does so much damage and you're so far away.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
really,
it's
really fun.
It can be very fun. You tend to be you have a bit of a target on your back because people know if they don't pay attention to you, they're going to be in trouble. But anytime when other people have their attention, you're allowed to free fire. Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah.
You do the buku damage for sure.
I haven't done that in a while. That sounds. I'll probably try both of them. I mean, my main is Marauder or Sentinel, but in PvP I like to. I don't know. I don't like play Marauder and Sentinel, which is interesting.
Well,
I used to do Merc, but don't really like Merc in
PvP.
It's not as fun.
Yeah,
for me.
I'm wondering also if PvP becomes more of a popular part of the game, like if more and more people are doing it because of the changes, if like the leveling, maybe they will break it up into more than just the two, because right now it's 10 to 45, I believe, or maybe it's 44, and then it's like 45 or 46 all the way up to 79. And if you're in the 40s, you feel completely useless in a game where there's like a lot of 70s and above. It is rough. Like even into the 50s and even into the 60s, you're having some real hard times sometimes against the, like 70, 75 where they have a tactical, all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty ugly actually. But so it'd be interesting to see if it would become popular enough that they might perhaps decide to break it up into say 3 groups, so it ends up being like 65 to 79 and and then a middle one and then a low B one, but we'll see. Who knows? That's very speculative for the future, and that's assuming that a lot more people do leveling PvP, but I certainly hope so. Anything else, Kitty?
Myself and Kitty Treats are going to be doing a Thanksgiving Day stream, so if you don't have anywhere to go, feel free to come and hang out with us, and we'll keep you company for your Thanksgiving. That's
great. Yeah.
For years I've been, I don't have family to hang out with, so I'd always stream or invite people to hang out. So I try to make an effort to, there's a lot of people that don't have anywhere to go, and we're here for you.
Right.
Get some stovetop stuffing, whatever it is you want to stuff in your mouth, and come hang out with us. We'll be here all day, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday.
That's awesome. Do you know how long you're going to go?
Probably till 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's going to be a nice long stream.
Last year we did a 12-hour.
Right. It just depends how you feel.
Hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you working the next day, or do you have that day off?
No, I don't. I have the next day off. So
that's nice.
Too.
That's good. So, that'll help a lot then.
It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have a pie.
Yeah.
So I'll be feeding on that throughout.
Do you think you'll finish the pie in one day?
Well, I've done that. You get a tummy ache.
I'll bet.
You get a tummy ache.
What do you like to put on
while you're doing it?
What do you throw on top, if anything? Do you put a little whipped cream? Yeah, good stuff.
The whipped cream.
Whipped, yeah.
Tasty. So tasty.
That's gonna be fun. Yeah, so everyone join Kitty and Kitty on Thanksgiving if you're not busy visiting relatives or whatever. That's awesome. All right then, that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our
Tede Rage
Guild on the Empire side, do a /cjoin Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. I will have to add the Mastodon one, but anyway, I don't have it in the notes, sorry. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. Record the show live bi-weekly, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, streaming at twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room. All right.
Twisted Redneck.
You want to do Twisted Redneck? Okay.
We'll,
let's see.
Pop it in.
I always have... Let me get over to the dashboard then. Okay. Go to the manage stream here. Okay. Yeah. There he is. We'll start the raid. Thanks again to Zamzam for the raid right at the beginning of the show. And here we go in just a couple seconds. There we go. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. All right. So I'll go say hi to the Twisted Redneck real quick.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Sweet.
His emote is looking so fucking fly. If they're there together, I don't want to say both.
Okay,
kisses.
Almost
That's
done.
what I say.
No worries.
Treats, kisses, covers them both. Fair enough.
There you go.
That was yours.
All right, I'm closing that up, and let me go here, stopping the stream, stopping the